And this is what we need to be doing. This is what our pioneer ancestors did. They came in here, they looked at a resource and they said, okay, here's a river. We'll build a canal. And by building that canal, we can irrigate these crops. And then by irrigating these crops, we'll provide food for ourselves and for not only ourselves, but our families and other families to come up here, and we can start to civilize and grow this area and their economy. You're seeing the exact same thing happen here today.
So an aquifer is a saturated rock formation that has enough permeability to provide water to a pumping well. It's used for commercial purposes, municipal purposes, industrial purposes, agricultural purposes. It waters us, it waters our crops, it waters our city, it waters our industry. It's used for everything. We have a rechargeable aquifer and water to recharge it with. What we need to do is work together to get it in the ground.
District has a boundary around it, and everyone inside that boundary has a water right, unless they've asked to not have one. And that's supposed to be a good thing, because when people move here, they don't have to hunt for water to irrigate their property. It's also a bad thing if they don't know about it because we are a government entity and we are a taxing agency, and so we it's like a property tax. You're taxed a water assessment for each of your water rights that go to your property, and so if you're not aware of that and you're getting a tax every year, that's not a good thing. But it is a good thing if you don't have to hunt for water and you want to irrigate your property. This project that is taking place right now is awesome. It's huge and it's breathtaking when you look at it. Almost makes me feel like it's so big that you just can't describe what's going on here, but it's so great that they're trying to save the aquifer and the farmers that need the water, and there's a lot of that effort going on with more than just Progressive Irrigation District, but this one is just really been planned out well, I think, and everybody's been working together so well, and I hope that it does what they want it to do. It should. It should sink a lot of water, but it amazes me how many people are involved in a project like this, and they've all worked really hard to make it happen.
All of the numbers and all of the research that we should be able to put about 250 acre feet of clean water into the aquifer every day. That's a lot of water. That's going to help with the aquifer. We're hopeful that it does it. We think it'll do it. It may even do some more than that. So we're excited to get the first water turned in and do some tests and just see exactly how many acre feet per day will go into this project. To put the acre foot into perspective, that's water 1 foot deep on a piece of land that's a little bit smaller than a half a mile by a mile.
The canals are already here and they have been established, but the work's not done. This is the new work. This is the new future for what Idaho needs to be doing in East Idaho, especially in East Idaho, because this is the top end of the aquifer. And so we need these recharge projects all above American Falls, up anywhere we can put them, anywhere we can find an opportunity. And the state should be willing to support it. The governor should be willing to support it. The Idaho State Water Board should be willing to support it. And even the federal government should be willing to support it, because as you said, I grow 23 million large orders of McDonald's French fries. They aren't being eaten in Idaho. In fact, one time I said, where can I go to eat my own potatoes? I want to eat one of my French fries, because we can do this nowadays. We can track our food. And I said, where do I have to go to eat one of my French fries? You know what they told me? Kansas City, Missouri. And I said, I got to drive clear to Kansas City, Missouri to eat one of my own French fries. And said, that's where your spuds went. And this is where having the ability to grow crops, and this is why the federal government should be paying attention to this. We're not only feeding Idaho, we're feeding the nation. And in fact, we're feeding the world. Without water, that's about as big a crop as you're gonna get at the most. You know, and so you look at these two spuds and you say, with water, without water, that's a massive difference. This will hold 100,000 sacks of potatoes. So 100,000 100-pound bags of potatoes. 140 times 100,000. 14 million potatoes will be in this cellar by the time we're done. That's a lot of potatoes. They say the consumption of potatoes per person in America is about 100 pounds a year. And so the other thing that you got to look at is this potato alone would supply 100,000 people with 100 pounds of potatoes for a whole year. You know, and so this is where it goes back to, yes, these are potatoes, but this is food. You know, this is what we're doing. We're growing food.
We've got to help Mother Nature restore this aquifer. It's exciting to be involved in something that not only helps today's world, helps the irrigator, helps the people, it helps future generations. So it's exciting for me to be involved in something that's going to go generations.
We're all in this together. You know, we can get it done. We just have to have vision and work together. As a person who lives up here, I appreciate the investment by the Water Resource Board in the willingness of Progressive Irrigation to undertake a project like this. It means a lot to our communities.
The challenges are that we need everybody growing, all right? And we need to probably change this attitude. I don't like it when somebody says this is a finite resource. This is a renewable resource, because these mountains that you can see behind me, there's a ski hill right over there. They refill every year. If that isn't a renewable resource, I don't know what is.
The Progressive Board was visionary in proposing it, but it's going to go to other boards. It's a community service project. Basins like this are intended to last. This is an investment that will impact the East Idaho community in perpetuity. We look at this stuff at parts per billion in terms of looking for contaminants and just don't see anything other than bacteria. And the bacteria dies underground. It's clean water, it runs off the mountain. The aquifer is so permeable and will accept the water. There's a lot of room for optimism up here.
From the rivers in our landscapes to the oceans and lakes that cradle our world, water is the foundation of our existence. We depend on it for our survival, harnessing its power to cultivate the food we eat. It is a resource so vital that we often take it for granted. This is the story of our aquifer, the lifeblood beneath the surface, a story of survival, stewardship, and the delicate balance we must maintain to preserve this precious resource.